Harvard Law School professor emeritus and author of the book Get Trump, Alan Dershowitz, joins me. Alan, any thoughts about the fact that what's going on here, that they put this up on the website? Yeah. And it's just, I mean, well, okay, tell me.
Well, this is the first example of artificial intelligence making a Freudian slip. Here you have, everybody knows there's going to be an indictment. If the prosecutor wants an indictment, it's done. The grand jury is 23 chairs being moved around by a prosecutor. We know about the ham sandwich. So, of course, there'll be an indictment. And the artificial intelligence, the website, picked it up before the humans did because they knew it was going to go on. So it's an extraordinary Freudian slip. And, you know, you can make any excuse you want. But we know there's been an indictment under RICO, which is outrageous. RICO was intended to go after organized crime, not election protests. We know there's going to be an indictment based probably on the phone call that was made where Trump said, "Find me." He didn't say invent, concoct, or manufacture. He said find, and find means it's there to be found. You just have to look harder to make sure that all the votes are counted.
But there's something, I mean, okay, if he hasn't been indicted, if the grand jury has not voted, just from a purely technical standpoint, is that the clerk's office has. And since when does the clerk's office get to indict? You know, it's like, I mean, the whole idea is like almost to fix it in, like, I don't know what he did or what he didn't do or whatever it is, but it ought to be fair and not look like, you know, all the cards are stacked where they indict him before the grand jury even votes.
Well, that's why it's so important. We know that that's the reality. People are indicted before the grand jury votes. So the machine has been smarter than the people and revealed to us the reality of how grand juries work. Now, you know, grand juries are not required by the Constitution in a state court, only in the federal court. So there probably won't be any federal violation, but there might be some violation of state law. And I'm sure that Trump's lawyers will pursue those violations. But it is just, the appearance of justice is so compromised when a website announces an indictment, presumably before the grand jury voted.
All right, you were a lawyer in one of the most, probably the most watched trial in history, the O.J. Simpson trial. We expect that there'll be cameras in the court based on what the judge, an order the judge signed for a case that apparently doesn't exist because it hasn't been indicted according to the DA. Who's on first is sort of the analogy. But tell me, I'm in favor of cameras in the court because I like transparency, but you have worked under cameras in the court. Is this a good idea or not a good idea to put cameras in this trial?
It doesn't matter whether it's a good idea or a bad idea. It's a necessary idea. Is it a good idea to have cameras in Congress? No, but we need transparency. We need transparency. You know, now we see how Congress operates. We must have television, not only in the state court proceedings, but in the federal court proceedings. And there's no law prohibiting federal trials from being shown on television. It's only a practice. And the Supreme Court has already allowed live transmission of arguments before the Supreme Court itself. So I think if a judge had the courage to say, I'm ordering this televised, the courts would sustain that judge. Now, in this case, Trump doesn't want to televise. Well, that's too bad. And the prosecution doesn't want to televise. That's too bad. That's not their right. It's the right of the public to see their trials working in real time.
All right, we only have about 40 seconds left. David Weiss is now made the special prosecutor by the Attorney General of the United States, who I think, frankly, I don't care who he is he dropped the ball on that whole plea thing, and so now he's being hired to be special counsel. Yeah. Why would the Attorney General pick somebody who made such a blunder? Why is he now made the special counsel?
And especially when the regulation prohibits it. It says the special counsel shall be selected from outside the United States government. Regulation 600.3. He's going to try to wiggle out of that, but Congress ought to call him and question him as to why he picked a man who is not qualified under the relevant regulations to be the special counsel, and especially somebody who probably consciously or unconsciously tried to justify the sweetheart deal that so many people think he gave to Hunter Biden, and the judge threw out. Remember who predicted the judge would throw it out? I predicted it on your show.
Well, okay, congratulations to you. Well, he clearly is the one who gave him the deal where it's buried in it for no one to find except this very observant judge, an immunity clause, which I've never seen. But anyway, in many of my work. Alan Dershowitz, thank you, sir.
My pleasure. Thank you.